everyone and welcome to today's session of NYSRE Webinar Series 2, Career in Energy with Professionals. So today, webinar session is brought to you by PT SNG and PT Cahya Panca Sukses Sentosa, and our media partners are Radio PTI Dunia, Event Bandung, kampusupdate.com, Event Banget, Radio Kampus ITB, 8EH Radio, Radio Mahasiswa Unpad, Ardan Radio, Radio Play 99ers Bandung, Kampuspedia, Ruang Event, Boulevard ITB, Ruang Mahasiswa, Info Lomba, ITB Hits, ITB Receh, Bandung Event, Event Apa Aja, Event Kampus, Bandung Info, Informasi Event, and Event Journal. Today, we'll hear some explanation regarding to today's topic from our three outstanding speakers, which will be divided into two sessions. First, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Prima Lutfinanda Beniamin, currently studying in ITB as a last year student majoring mechanical engineering. And so, as a starter, we will hear a welcoming speech from NYSRE Managing Director Grace Natasha Kristiadi. For Grace, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Kak Prima. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Program Officer, International Renewable Energy Agency, Mr. Riccardo Toxiri, the Honorable Global Focal Point SDG number 7 on United Nations Model Group for Children and Youth, Mr. Beniamin and Mr. Udeh, also Chiagozie as the founder and chairman of SRE ITB and NYSRE volunteers, also our attendee. Good afternoon. On this occasion, we would like to thank God so that we can gather together in this room online together to attend these webinars. To fellow participants, as we know, because of this pandemic, we are not allowed to conduct the National Youth Summit for Renewable Energy together, which was supposed to be held offline in Sasana Budaya Ganesha ITB this year. But thankfully, we can still share our knowledge and compete in this part of event, National Youth Summit of Renewable Energy, with each other, although we cannot see face-to-face. I would like to thank Chiagozie Berian as the founder of SRE, entrusted me to help NYSRE, and also the managers, staff, and volunteers on NYSRE who have worked hard and also helped to succeed the NYSRE event online this year. Before I close this opening speech, as Managing Director of NYSRE, I would like to express my deep gratitude to all those who took the time to attend these seminars. Hopefully, these webinars can be useful for us and spark us inspiration even more for us, the future change makers, innovators of renewable energy, not only in Indonesia, but also the world. Maybe this is all I can say. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Grace. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And for now, and for all speakers, please turn on your camera so that we can interact with you. And then for the first session, speaker, Mr. Riccardo, please give us a slight introduction about yourself.
Good afternoon, Prima, and good afternoon, Grace. Thank you very much for this, for inviting me, but especially for inviting IRENA to take part to this very interesting webinar and summit that we are very also proud of taking part to this very first national summit on energy. and also on engaging with your network. And we are really, really impressed also by the numbers of people that are joining us today in order to know a little bit more about IRENA, about renewables, and about also youth movement and organization and youth-led organizations. I am a program officer at IRENA. I am working specifically on youth engagement and parliamentary engagement initiatives. And I have already had the opportunity to know personally some of the representatives from SRE, especially Zaghi Beniamin, who was invited to the first IRENA Youth Forum. And of course, I am also very familiar with the global focal points from the SDG 7 Youth Constituency, Beniamin, and also Chiagozie, that I understood is joining us very soon. I will now going to share my screen. I have prepared a very brief presentation about IRENA and youth engagement initiatives that we are promoting within our organization. I hope that almost all participants are already familiar with our organization, although considering that it is a new intergovernmental organization, quite new because it was established in 2011. I prepared some slides for you in order to understand a bit more which is the IRENA's mandate and also the institutional structure that, let's say, support the implementation of our work plan. As said, IRENA was funded and established in 2011 following a diplomatic and governance process that started in the 80s, thanks to the involvement and engagement of some parliamentarians from Germany. At that point, renewables were a very, very niche technology. There were only few countries that were already promoting different renewable sources than, of course, hydropower, which was one of the main energy sources used in that period by countries. And at that point, there were several discussions about the opportunity and the need of having renewable powering the world. The process was long. There were several initiatives led still by parliamentarians, but also by governments. And in 2009, there have been the very first international conference where countries gather in order to discuss about having the very first International Renewable Energy Agency. Since then, things evolved. The process took a faster path, and in April 2011, there was the very first IRENA assembly meeting. The main mandate of IRENA, as I said, is to promote the adoption and sustainable use of all forms of renewable energy at global level. It means that our technical divisions are engaged in promoting the use of bioenergy, wind energy, solar energy, geothermal energy, and of course also hydropower and also ocean energy. Along these different use and forms of renewable, we are also promoting the technologies that are behind them. It means that, for example, we are also promoting the use of specific technologies that are able to foster the use of specific renewable energy sources. And we are also, since few years, also studying and trying to understand which could be the use, for example, of hydrogen, of green hydrogen, within a broader perspective of different sources of renewable energy. Our agency is based in Abu Dhabi, in Masdar cities, which is the sustainable city of the UAE. But we also have other two offices. One is located in Bonn, where there is the IRENA Innovation and Technology Center, which is the division that works specifically on innovation and technology issues, and of course also opportunities. And then we have also our permanent observer to the United Nations office that is based, of course, in New York. This office has a specific role of linking our intergovernmental agency with the UN system and with all the stakeholders that are engaged with the United Nations and with the United Nations agencies. As I said, our agency is probably one of the agencies that was created, one of the intergovernmental agencies that was created only a few years ago. We are now in the 10th year of IRENA, and as you can see from this graph, there was a very huge increase of members that joined the agency. As I said, IRENA is an intergovernmental agency, which means that our members are governments, are countries, are promoting through the use of sustainable renewable energy sources. In 2011, there were 85 countries that officially joined our agency. At that time, I was already there. I wasn't working for IRENA, but I was a national Italian delegate to the very first assembly of IRENA, and throughout the years I continued to follow IRENA's work, IRENA's initiative, and I provided also some inputs to work program. In December 2019, we had the last two members that joined our membership, but membership is still growing. We have now 22 states that are in accessions, which means that they are in the process of ratifying our statute, and after that they will become an official member of IRENA. Although they are not already a member, we as an agency are engaging them on our initiatives. This means that our work is done with more than 182 countries in the world, and it means also that we are an open organization. We want to engage countries that are not yet members, and we want at the same time also engage in a more proactively way all stakeholders that are part of the renewable energy sector as a whole. I have already mentioned briefly the word assembly when doing my introduction, and the assembly is actually one and also the main institutional body that governs our organization. The assembly is included within our institutional structure, which includes also the council, which is another governing body, and also the secretariat. The assembly is the agency's supreme decision-making body that convenes once a year. It always takes place in Abu Dhabi, usually in January, as part of the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week that is promoted by the UAE government and includes a delegation from each IRENA member. It means that during our assembly we have more than 160 countries that are attending the meeting and that are discussing and also approving our work program and budget. The work program and budget is the, let's say, official document that provides the guidance that the Secretariat has to take in order to implement the decisions that are taken by the members. And decisions can be from different types. They can be related to programmatic initiatives, which means to initiatives that are related to specific renewable energy related topics. For example, the organization of the off-grid international conference, or the development of the Sdg 7 tracking report, which sees IRENA as one of the custodians, and also, of course, other decisions that are related to institutional and administrative issues. For example, the privilege or immunities decisions that governs the status of IRENA's staff that are working in the agency, or the other decisions or documents that are related, for example, to audit, to financial assessment, to the election of the Director General procedures, and so on. The Assembly in general, we can say that guides all the programmatic and strategic direction that the agency is taking through its Director General and through the Secretariat as a whole. During the last year, our Assembly has become a global convening platform on renewable energy topics, which means that during the 3 days of Assembly, usually we have also the opportunity to engage not only countries that are part of our membership, but also stakeholders. For example, we do organize a public and private dialogue where members of IRENA and the institutions that are related to a link to our membership have the opportunity to discuss with other stakeholders, for example, dialogue that is related to the deployment of renewable energy worldwide. At the same time, we, as I said before, organized in last January the very first IRENA Youth Forum, which gathered more than 52 young people to our assembly. It gave the opportunity to these young people to discuss among them about the needs of having renewable energy powering the global energy transformation and all energy transitions, but at the same time gave the opportunity to them to interact also with high-level representatives. Throughout the IRENA Youth Forum, they had the opportunity, for example, to meet the United Nations President of the 74 General Assembly. They had also the opportunity to interact with the former Director General and Executive Director of the UNIDO, the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, which is also a former Secretary General for Sustainable Energy for All initiative launched by the previous United Nations Secretary General some years ago. They had also the opportunity to interact with the Director General for Energy of the European Commission and also other high-level officials. We wanted to organize this first IRENA Youth Forum in order to provide young people with some more knowledge about renewables, and also with some opportunity of interacting with other people from different regions and countries. We also, of course, organize during the assembly other programmatic discussions, plenary sessions that are open also to stakeholders and other organizations or partners that are, let's say, interested on specific topics. The other governing body that supports the implementation of our work program is the Council. The Council is a more close group of members of IRENA, which consists of 21 members that are elected by the Assembly every 2 years in order to facilitate consultations and cooperation among members and consider also programmatic and strategic and institutional matters. There is a specific difference between the Council and the Assembly in terms of governance, which is related to the fact that the Council does not approve any document, any decision, but it assists the Assembly by recommending specific documents, specific decisions, specific issues to the Assembly that will then approve or reject somehow that specific proposal. The Council convenes twice yearly, usually between May and June, and then in November. Considering the current pandemic that we are all facing, this year the Council didn't convene in June because of difficulties in organizing a virtual meeting at that time, but it will convene in November, probably with a full setting of webinars and virtual events that will be organized by our programmatic divisions and also by our Director General, of course. The other governing body, the other institutional body is the Secretariat. The Secretariat, as I said, consists of the Director General, which is Francesco La Camera, that was elected last year in January, but took office in April 2019, and its staff. By its staff, we mean all directors of our 6 divisions, our colleagues from general services, and of course also programmatic and program officers like me and other colleagues. The IRENA Secretariat counts 150 staff, which are involved in the implementation of the programs, of the work program, which is based within the framework of the IRENA's mandate. The Secretariat is the body that implements all programs, initiatives, all also ideas that are brainstormed, that are proposed during the Assembly at the Council, and of course provides all information on the progress on implementation of any initiative that is promoted by our membership. The Secretariat also communicates with the members and other stakeholders through our social media channels, but also, of course, through official channels that are the main communication opportunity, the main official communication opportunity that we have to engage our members, and it also establishes cooperation and creates synergies to deliver IRENA's mandate by engaging our members, but also other stakeholders. At IRENA, we have 6 divisions. We have specific divisions that deals with innovation and technology. We have specific divisions that deals and leads all the work on knowledge and also policy. We have a division that is for us the window to our membership, which is leading all the engagement initiative with our members, so bilaterally or even multilaterally by organizing, for example, specific alliances on a specific mandate, which could be, for example, the promotion of geothermal energy, or even by organizing international conferences in order to address or to discuss a specific topic with the members. We have also a new division that deals with the implementation of and the facilitation of renewable energy projects by creating links, opportunities within project developers, financiers, and also other stakeholders that are needed in order to make a renewable energy project a reality. So in order to really support countries in the construction, in the development and deployment of renewables on the ground. We do also have other divisions that deals specifically with the administrative issues or HR issues. There are also, let's say, work that is related to all the financial books, financial records, and so on. And of course, we have also the Office of the Director General. Within the Office of the Director General, there are several units that support the vision of our Director General in order, by providing him all the support that he needs to implement his ideas from the strategic thinking through the concrete implementation and proposal to the members. One of these units is the Governance Support Office where I work, which deals specifically with member engagement at official level and also leads some specific projects that are related, for example, to the engagement of specific stakeholders. One of these stakeholders which is very important and relevant for IRENA is the youth. We all agree that young people are key agents for social change, for environmental protection and technological innovation, as well as economic growth. And we at IRENA think that youth skills and also advocacy are essential for building a climate-safe and sustainable energy for all. These were the very first thought that our Director General had last year when he took his office in April 2019, which were also much more, let's say, supported after he started meeting young people that were interested in working and cooperating with IRENA. In September 2019, he met in New York a group of young people from the United Nations Measure Group for young people, for children and youth, where he had also the opportunity already to brainstorm with them about what IRENA has to do with regard to young people engagement, what also can youth provide and offer IRENA in order to implement and realize its mandate. By thanks to these dialogues that he had, we launched the call for application for young people to attend the IRENA Youth Forum last January. We then launched also a webinar series of virtual meetings for youth in last June, and we also, let's say, define a set of initiatives that we are still discussing on, and we are also already, let's say, promoting in order to engage even more young people. For us, the main mandate or objective is to provide a deep depth understanding of issues to youth, issues that are related to the deployment of renewable energy worldwide, of course, but also an understanding of interlinkages with the global development agenda and all the challenges and opportunities that are related to energy transformation and energy transitions. In this slide, I have summarized very briefly which are the main initiatives that IRENA is promoting when working and collaborating with youth. As I said, last year we organized the first IRENA Youth Forum, and we also prepare, thanks to Beniamin support, also a preparatory session in partnership with the New York University Abu Dhabi's branch. We also launched a student trainee program to support governing body meetings, which offers high school students first-hand insights into the proceedings of our governing body meetings, so the council and the assembly, and it gave also the students the opportunity of understanding a bit more about issues that are related to the deployment of renewable energies and also interlinkages with the SDGs. Last year we had during our assembly and council, we had a total of 37 high school students that were selected through a competitive process that we launched last year. These are students that are based in Abu Dhabi and in the other Emirates of UAE, which had a concrete opportunity to understand how intergovernmental organization works, and also the opportunity to interact with some of the delegates, national delegates that are attending the meeting. We do have also other initiatives for engaging the youth. As said, we launched the IRENA Youth Talk last June. We launched also the first IRENA Youth Video contest in order to hear about young people's views and ideas on how to face the current COVID pandemic, thanks to the support of renewables. It gave the opportunity to young people to provide ideas, to share their views on how, for example, and which role can renewable have in the future in order to address issues or topics that are now currently linked to the COVID pandemic, but that could be also taken into consideration in the next future in order to promote the sustainable energy for all, in order to promote sustainable development, not only, of course, at government level, but also when it regards communities, young people, marginalized people, and other representative of our communities. We have also another initiative that is called Growth at IRENA, which before the pandemic gave the opportunity to more than 100 young people to do a summer trainship program at our premises in Abu Dhabi. This year also the Growth at IRENA initiative went live and it gives the opportunity to young people to understand a bit more about what IRENA is doing, how it is structured, and also which could be the let's say possibility for young people to join our organization. We also are engaged and collaborating with the SDG 7 Youth Constituency, which is present here. We are engaging and working, I would say, also with them in order to make our work, our youth engagement work even more effective and proactive. And of course, we are also very interested in cooperating with other youth-led organizations that are based nationally or which have a specific regional focus. I hope that I wasn't too long. I'm now giving back the floor to the moderator, to Prima. And of course, in case you have any, you would like to have any additional information, there will be at the end a Q&A session, but of course you can also visit our website or write to us through the youth@arena.org email address. Thank you very much. And please, moderator Prima, you are welcome to take the floor.
Okay, so big thank you for Riccardo, and please give a big virtual applause for Mr. Riccardo. Okay, and then so what I can conclude for Mr. Riccardo information that IRENA is an agency that promotes widespread adoption and sustainable use of all forms of renewable energy worldwide. And IRENA also is an open organization that will engage with all countries, member or non-member, and also the structure, organizational structure of IRENA consists of assembly, council, and secretariat, which the general director is Mr. Francesco La Camera, and also the youth empowerment at IRENA is the program are First Youth Forum, student trainee program for support GBM, which already consists of 37 high school students, IRENA Youth Talk, IRENA Youth Video Contest, growth at IRENA, and collaborating with SDG 7 Youth Consistency. And also, I would like to re-inform to you guys, this webinar series is brought to you by PT SME and PT Cahaya Sukses Sentosa, also our media partner that already informed before. And also now we will move to the second session from Mr. Beniamin and Mr. Udeh. I would like to introduce you to Mr. Beniamin and Mr. Udeh, and the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Thanks a lot for having me, and I'm happy to be here. Good morning. I'm joining you from Abuja, and I'll be speaking, of course, with my colleague Beniamin. We are the global focal points of the SDG 7 constituency. You probably already heard a bit about it from what Riccardo had mentioned earlier, who we have a good collaboration with on the side of IRENA. So the SDG 7 Youth Constituency, I will just give a brief overview of it, is the Youth Constituency on Energy, which was formalized this year. For a long time, through our engagement as young people on the climate change fair, we figured there was no dedicated youth space, operating on energy. That space was lacking, especially for policy making and also for support of young entrepreneurs in this space. So since 2018, 2017, we've been working on creating a formal youth space of engagement within the UN. So first, the UN Major Group for Children and Youth, the Unmgcy, is the formal engagement mechanism for young people at the UN. It is mandated by the United Nations General Assembly to be, self-organized and engage in numerous policy processes related to the SDG. And the Unmgcy primary purpose is engaging communities of young people across the different regions as divided by the UN in the design, implementation, monitoring, follow-up, and review of sustainable development policies across all levels in the UN. And for us, this design, implementation, monitoring, follow-up, and review constitutes what we call meaningful youth engagement. For our years in engagement of the MGCY, we've successfully tried to reduce tokenization of young people. By tokenization, we mean just having young people at the table because it feels fancy to have them. Yeah, but then for our years in this engagement, we've been able to fight off tokenism and meaningfully engage young people. And then the UNMGCY is a formally mandated space. It's a space that is mandated in Agenda 20, in Agenda 21 in 1992. And this is from the member states of the UN and several UN General Assembly resolutions, such as the 2013 agreement with UN bodies and conferences also re-emphasize this. So the MGCY seeks to build the world on the collective principles of solidarity, justice, equity, universality, inclusion, human rights, and the integrity of the planet. These are the core areas on which our ethics are derived. And we strive for a resilient world where young people and all rights holders in all their diversity are equal in decision making. So within our space is a flat space where just beyond the global focal point and sometimes the regional focal points and the thematic focal points that we have, everybody is super equal, even with the global focal points. Like everybody is super equal. We make decisions together. Decisions are made on a consensus basis. Everybody is free to lead any process or participate in any way. So it's a very safe space and open space for all young people to engage. We stand for the idea that places where power and influence are most concentrated, but must recognize also and operationalize the importance of the actions and the views of young people in promoting and protecting the rights of all and the well-being of our planet, present and future generation. And when we talk about meaningful youth engagement, we have a lot of principles that guide us in this, and we also have some barriers. So first is that for the principles we are self-organized. So that means it is youth-led, youth-organized. Everything is about youth. Nobody is dictating to us. Second is that it's legally mandated by the United Nations General Assembly. Third is that it's rights-based. It's democratic. It's rights-based. So whatever rights you think are obtainable are also obtainable within us, and also within diverse groups. Then designated, of course, we have a lot of designations. We have our OPs, the organizing partners, who are our main contacts or interface within the UN headquarters. And of course, well-resourced, yes, well-resourced, a bit of asterisk there because we are still in the process of achieving that. And of course, accountable, always have to be accountable to our members. And we have a couple of barriers, of course. We have the barriers we've been fighting for years, individualization. We've won this battle for many times, but still it's a raging battle because we want young people to be seen as the collective, not like individualizing efforts, and then elevating some effort over the other. We want to bring, be a collective voice that moves together, and that has been helpful. Because there's apparent lack of resources, it's never enough. And then a regressive normative framing sometimes that we really frown at. And of course, the changing landscape of non-state actors. It's been evolving from years past in all its dynamism, and we have to adapt to this. And why is this important? It's important for all of this. It is important to ensure that youth are heard, not just heard, but also that they are respected. And then we have 4 core areas where work is focused. So the first one is the policy and advocacy. Of course, that's pretty self-explanatory. Participation in official and formal avenues of events where we are engaged in all the processes of planning and executing and also following up on these events. We have youth action, the platform that encourages young people to lead, join, showcase, and share innovative and effective actions aimed at addressing the needs of our planet. And we have capacity building because we need young people to have the requisite knowledge, the requisite capacity to deliver on different topics and also on different topics that we are engaged in. So we enhance the understanding, knowledge, and skills in relations to these areas, to build capacity of young people. It could be by organizing webinars, organizing on-ground meetings, selecting some of our members to be funded to various events to build their capacity and also sustain the culture of knowledge transfer within the space. Yes, and knowledge, of course, a platform for dialogue to create an evidence base for practices through the assessment of existing knowledge and generating new ones too. And for now, like that, we have a lot of emphasis on science because some global leaders do not understand what science is. So it's very important for us that we build knowledge and we follow evidence-based, research and data and science in all our operations, especially as relating to people and the planet. And then this is just a video representation of the areas of work of the MGCY. We have the Resilience and Humanitarian Action Group, Working Group. We have the Human Rights. We have the Peace and Security. We have the Youth Policy and Development, of course, the Sustainable Development, and then Governance. And of course, all these are all geared towards development. Before we had the SDGs, we had the Millennium Development Goals. We also organized some working group across that. But now we have the SDGs until 2030. So we've organized various working groups across the SDGs. And there will be also something that will come after the SDGs. And of course, I will be sure to mainstream our engagement into those. So this is our membership map. Yes, we need to update that a bit because it's become slightly more than that. But yeah, you can just have a brief look across regions, how we organize. You can see the regions that are where we have our most membership and also where we have least membership. We have over 8,000 member entities and way more, a lot of individual membership. So yeah, you can see that pretty much and see that you have to increase the participation from your region. Yeah, so it comes up a bit. Yeah, so the SDG 7 Youth Constituency is what I and Ben represent here. It's just like I said, it's the space that has been created for youth formal engagement in the energy sector within the energy space, renewable and sustainable energy precisely. And yeah, this has been formalized earlier in the year, in March, taking off then. And a lot of work has been done even before then. This is just like, the formal. The formalizing the process of engagement, growing our membership base to make sure that we're engaging a sufficient number of young people. And yeah, for the MGCY that formally exists since adoption of Agenda 21 in 1992, the SDG 7 constituency was operationalized in March 2020. And it's a formal engagement, like I said, mechanism for young people in UN and UN-related processes focused on energy topics. And we also act towards youth engagement in other energy-focused processes in the multilateral system that could be outside the UN. And this is the core focus of our work to expand that space of multilateral engagement within the energy sector and to get more young people involved in core policy formation to make sure that things that concern them a lot are well taken care of, because young people are engaged at the very basic level of energy development, in design and innovation, data gathering, entrepreneurship, and the need to participate in the decision making because they also know what they see on the field to be able to enhance, their operations across board. And these policies are most importantly needed to trickle down at the national level. And then these are avenues of engagement in the SDG 7. We're facilitating participation and engagement of youth and youth organizations in this processes. Of course, UN Energy that brings together the different multilateral engagement mechanisms on energy. Of course, IRENA, we have a very good partnership with IRENA too, thanks to Riccardo and his colleagues. And we have also with SC for All, as a Sustainable Energy for All. We have IEA, have the EcoSoc Forum, where a lot of times we showcase a lot of our work in the previous year. Of course, we engaged with REN 21, World Energy Council. There are a lot more that has happened in the past. It's just not updated here yet. And of course, we engage in the high-level political forum. We did the youth intervention in the last session of the HLPF, and also we'll engage as appropriate in the UN General Assembly whenever that would be, because this year it's a very disrupted year in this space. So at this point, I will hand over to my colleague Beniamin to take it forward. Thank you so much.
Sorry, Mr. Benjamin, I think your microphone is still in off mode. We still cannot hear your voice, Mr. Benjamin.
Maybe you want to change your headset, or you go off your headset. Okay, Ben is trying to reconnect. He's trying to set up his audio. Maybe I'll just take a few more slides for him until he's back. Yes, Ben, can you hear me?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, Ben is back. Yeah, Ben, you can continue now.
Yes, it's all loud and clear.
Prima?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, okay. Beniamin is joining, because otherwise I was thinking that we could take some of the questions on IRENA's my presentation, but then I see that Beniamin is back, so we can probably continue.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Benjamin.
Okay, sorry for that. Not sure why it happened. Okay. So so speaking of the structure of our constituency, we have the coordination team. So we have regional focal points, thematic focal points for the groups that you can see being listed here. And there is two of us who are the global focal points representing Science Policy Circle as an organization. And depending on the needs or ongoing projects of the constituency, we also set up some ad hoc groups. And all of those are encompassed by our constituency membership. So specifically, the global focal points, it's a 2-year mandate, and Chiagozie and I are serving as representatives of an NGO Science Policy Circle. And we are supported by a fantastic team of 24 regional and thematic focal points. So here are our focal points for Africa, Europe, Arab region, West Asia, Asia Pacific, and Latin America and Caribbean. We have Fatma from Indonesia, who I believe many of you know. And we have also thematic groups, which are energy access, humanitarian energy, financing for renewable energy, VRA grid integration, energy, food, water nexus, energy and clean cooking, and gender aspects of energy. And it's really important for us to have those regional and thematic groups because this is really where our members can connect the most and discuss the technical issues, the topics that are related to their everyday work, and exchange good practices to see how they can further enhance their operations. And also, as you see, we have representatives from all regions and all different groups to really have the diversity of our membership reflected in the coordination. And adding to this diversity, recently we've been putting a lot of efforts in ensuring inclusion of all members in our work. So that includes also linguistic inclusion, because many of young professionals in the renewable energy sector do not speak English. So we need to think how we can engage them best. And that includes organizing events and communication channels in different languages. So for example, this introduction presentation we have been working on translating into different languages, including we have version in Bahasa. So for those of you who are interested in spreading the word further to your communities, you can use the QR code here and find the Bahasa version of that presentation. And to bring up a few examples of activities that we are doing. So policy advocacy, which is the first pillar of our work, we have been engaging in this year in high-level political forum on sustainable development, which took place online, but also in previous years, even before formalization of our constituency, young people from the MGCY have been working on providing support in the review of SDG 7. And that includes the MGCY sectoral paper, that includes supporting the background note on SDG 7 that is then disseminated to high-level decision makers participating in the forum, and that is also delivering interventions during the plenary. Another high-level event where we had a chance to participate and deliver our remarks and policy recommendations was the EU-Africa high-level group meeting convened by Friends of Europe. That is one of the series of meetings in run-up to the EU-Africa summit in October. And so we are also looking forward to being part of that conversation as well. Then second, when it comes to youth action, so it's important for us to showcase the actions that young people are taking. And here, one of the great examples is our collaboration with IRENA, the first IRENA Youth Talk that took place in June. And we are very happy that we got an opportunity to nominate a few members of our constituency to present the work that they've been doing specifically in the context of COVID-19 and renewable energy interlinkage. And that's one of many engagements that we hope to have in the future. Then capacity building. We have a great number of internal projects happening in the constituency to support our members in being agents for change in their communities. And that includes providing them with access to necessary resources like information about events, organizations, and papers and publications about the renewable energy and in renewable energy sector, but also giving them a chance to connect with different members of our constituency, and also providing them with necessary skills and exchanging the know-how. Because especially for our constituency, which involves a lot of technical work, it's important to share this expertise. And we would very much be happy if those of you who are now in the audience today would like to join us and support those projects. And then knowledge, so creation of knowledge. And so that involves both our internal work, like the discussion and publication of white paper on Planet of the Humans, which was a movie that was quite controversial and is still quite controversial on the topic of renewable energy. And so we thought it's important for us as young professionals in this sector to express our opinions and confront what has been shown in the movie with scientific facts. And it's also involvement in external initiatives like our ability to join the reviewing team for renewables in cities global status report by REN21. So the review process for 2020's edition of the report will be underway very soon, and we had a chance to nominate representatives from our constituency to be part of this reviewing team. And we also have the, outside of those 4 pillars of work, but what is really one of the foundation elements of the constituency work is serving with consultative role on youth engagement in different events and processes. So as we've mentioned many times, we have the chance to cooperate with IRENA under IRENA youth initiatives. Our members, the regional focal points for Europe, they served they provided advisory for engagement of youth in the first European Youth Energy Day that took part in July during the European Union Sustainable Energy Week, and was the first such event on European scale and engaged over 60 participants from all over Europe. And also Vienna Energy Forum, which is one of the leading UN events on energy. So we are members of the working group within UNIDO that is preparing this event. And we are also very much looking forward to seeing the youth component in that event, which as of now seems to be very promising and substantial. So to become a member of the constituency, one needs to become a member of the Unmgcy. And this membership is open to both individuals and organizations, both formal and non-formal organizations, as long as they are youth-led or youth-serving. And here's a few prerequisites that one must meet, which is basically to abide and adhere to the UNMGCY and the UN rules and values. And it can be done by signing up on the mailing list on our website. If you want to stay connected to our constituency, in the form, make sure to check the SDG 7 sustainable energy as your area of engagement, and then you will be signed up. We have also a non-formal WhatsApp group that you're welcome to join using the QR code or the link presented on the slide. And yeah, this is a great channel also to stay connected and hear from each other about updates and opportunities. So that's it from our side when it comes to presentation, but we're happy to elaborate and answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the presentation, Mr. Udeh and Mr. Benjamin. Please give a big virtual applause for all of our 3 outstanding speakers. And again, I want to inform to you, this webinar is brought to you by PT SMI, PT Cahaya Panca Sukses Sentosa, and PT Powerindo Prima Perkasa. Thank you for all the sponsorship. And also next, we will move to the Q&A session. So let me inform to you first that this Q&A session is divided into 2 sessions, and each session will consist of 3 questions. So I apologize to all of the participants if one of your question cannot be answered with the of our speakers. And also we'll start with the first question. To Mr. Riccardo, future career opportunities at IRENA. What competencies is needed and how to join? And also, is it open any recruitment this year?
Thank you very much, Prima, for asking me this question. I saw that there is a lot of interest on, let's say, working at IRENA, which is always a very good thing when it comes from young people, because it means that all of you really see the need for the deployment of renewable energy. Regarding competencies, I would say that considering the current structure and also the mission that IRENA has, there is not a specific type of person that can, let's say, that has to join the agency. We have different background. We come from different nationalities. There are people, of course, that have an engineering background, which, of course, is specifically to technology or innovation issues. There are also people that have a more, let's say, policy-oriented background, which deals, for example, with knowledge issues or financing issues, sustainable development, opportunities, growth, benefits of socio-economic benefits of renewables, and so on. There are also, of course, colleagues that have law degree, background on law, on economics, on governance, institutional and international relations, and so on. So I would say that everyone is welcome to join IRENA, our Secretariat. We do have several opportunities throughout the year to join. There is always the opportunity to join the IRENA, starting from an internship opportunity. And of course, we do offer also junior professional programs to young people. All the information related to recruitment are provided on our website under the recruitment opportunities webpage. Sorry. And I think that currently you can see that there are 2 vacancies. But if you register to our newsletter, you will be always notified when a new vacancy will be put on our website. The recruitment process can take a few months, because as you can imagine, we do receive several applications for each position that is posted on our website, and the selection process is usually made by at least 2 steps. One is a written test session, and if the candidate is, let's say, successful, it will be then asked to join a face-to-face interview, which is usually done by through, let's say, an online platform. In some cases, we do also ask applicants to provide a recording of some questions that we post in advance through a specific platform that is called Sunroof. And this was also the platform that we used, for example, to select the young people that attended the first IRENA Youth Forum. So also Beniamin and Zagi, Beniamin from the Sdgs Youth Constituency, and also Zagi Berian from SRE were selected through a very selective process. And we use also in that case, the Sunroof video interviews. After, if also the interview is successful, then there will be again some weeks before the candidate is offered with the position. And then, depending on the needs, the candidate and the recruiter can, let's say, define the perfect time when the candidate will join our agency. Thank you, Prima. I hope that I provided all the information that our attendees need.
Okay, thank you, Riccardo, for the answer. And to conclude the answer, so regarding career opportunities at IRENA, all of the participants can look at the webpage, IRENA webpage, and also there is some steps that you need to take in order to join IRENA. So the second question is from Muhammad Jordi. This is for our fellow speakers from Unmgcy. How has Unmgcy helped the youth be more aware of achieving SDGs in Nigeria? And how can we mimic those benefits that work there in Indonesia? That's all regarding the question.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, thanks for the question. Basically, just like we showed on our presentations, we organize around those 4 areas of work. And one that is very important for us is to expand our membership to make sure that more young people are aware of what we're doing and they are participating in our membership. This is the reason why we have already elected some regional focal points to make sure that our work is mainstreamed at the nooks and crannies across the UN regions. We have regional focal points. I guess the question was coming from Nigeria or something like that, but we have a regional focal point from Nigeria that is part of the regional focal points overseeing Western Central Africa. We have 2 more from Guinea, I think, that are also overseeing that region. And we have, like, within Africa, we have 3 regions, the one that ties into the Middle East, and then the Eastern and Southern Africa, of course, and Western Central Africa. And this we do also within other regions, Asia Pacific, Europe, Middle East, and North Africa. We do this as Latin America also. We did this to make sure that our work is mainstream to the basic level across the different continents, across the UN regional organization. And since we've been formalized in March 2020, a lot of our work have been online because we, of course, like everybody else, can't do a lot of on-ground work this period. We've collaborated in many ways with IRENA to bring youth voices and what young people are facing during this pandemic, especially young people engaged in energy to the fore. For example, young energy entrepreneurs, some of them were not able to carry out their energy businesses because they were not classified as essential businesses. And raising this kind of awareness was important to make sure that in the next phase of categorization that their government could consider adding them up as essential business so they could keep their staff, pay them, and be able to accept new jobs, because energy is very important. Electricity is very important for people to survive the pandemic and stay indoors. But because of this non-classification, and especially with young companies, startups, which are pretty new, it was very difficult for many of them to operate. And that needed to be amplified in terms of awareness for governments to take notice. And of course, a lot of energy workers, some of them lost their jobs because of this. Some also lost their job because they are still a young profile company, and they were not able to sustain. And this, of course, has been in terms of advocacy has been at various national level, or a few national level, we brought to the government attention to help include them in their palliatives or in supporting their SMEs within whatever economic recovery stimulus that they are doing. Of course, in Indonesia, thankfully we already have Zagan. I see a lot of you are joining also the group now. And what is important for us is first to know that, for young people to know that this space exists for them. And secondly, for you to come in and take ownership of the space. Don't wait for anybody to guide you along. Or, of course, we are here to support you, but don't wait for anybody to bring something for you to take up. If you just have an idea, bring it up. We are super supportive, and we'll support you to implement the idea, if you think there's something important that needs to be talked about, a new topic that needs to be introduced, something that needs to focus, whether it's within your country, within your region, or globally, please just bring it up, and we'll be very happy to support you. Have quite a supportive group to implement these ideas. And it's the kind of awareness you bring about what is happening in your country that can help us develop concrete policies that could support that. We can help support Indonesian youths in regards to how they engage their governments in developing their nationally determined contributions, if they've not submitted yet, to include more of renewable energy components. We can also see how your country is doing within the voluntary national review that was, of course, discussed at the HLPF, specifically relating to sustainable energy. There are a lot of things we can do, but most important is for you to know that this space exists for you, to be part of it and to engage in it to the highest level. There is no stopping on how much you can engage. Maybe Ben can also give a few more ideas on this. But then I think you lost your audio again.
Oh, okay. Now?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Yeah. So I think this opportunity to having those high-level political engagement is one thing, but we also, again, having in mind the technical aspect of our constituency, and maybe I'll partially answer here the question of Adinda, who asked about what exactly we did in order to improve energy services for developing countries such as Indonesia. So we have 3 excellent thematic focal points for energy access, Jose and Raul from Peru and Chera from Kenya. And they've been working on trying to understand what resources we can put together to support young professionals in developing countries in particular. And for example, many individuals are reaching out and asking what are the resources available. So that's something we're trying to provide those resources for knowledge and also financing. And specifically in the context of financing, we're thinking and planning to have a dedicated webinar about it with some intergovernmental stakeholders to present information about the financing options, like Adaptation Fund, like Horizon 2020 from the EU and others. Yeah, I think that's, but also we are very welcome, we very much welcome all the suggestions as to how we could further expand our work, because it's important for us to understand the energy landscape and think what are the missing areas of support for young people. And hopefully we can gather them and also channel to some stakeholders that could support us. Thank you.
Okay, Benjamin and Udeh, thank you for the answer. And now is the last question in this session. I think this one is for Mr. Riccardo. And so, how is IRENA's role in dealing with the current situation in which all economies in the country are disrupted because of this pandemic COVID-19?
Thank you, Prima. So at IRENA, as a we let's say, of course, have to take some decision following the current pandemic that not only, let's say, countries or people are facing individually, but of course also organizations and intergovernmental organizations are facing as well. Based on this, we had to readjust our way of working. We went, and we still are completely online. We are doing all our meetings, not only internal meetings, but also official meetings with our membership online. We are organizing online dialogues, online initiatives in order to continue, of course, implementing our mandate and our Director General's vision. By doing this, we didn't lose any opportunity of continuing working with our membership. And actually, I could say that during the last few months, we even increased our engagement initiatives with our membership and also with our stakeholders. As I said, we organized during between May and July more than 10 virtual meetings that were sometimes related to specific topics or to specific technologies, but we did also organize some specific webinars that were giving the opportunity to gather young people, for example, to discuss about the current COVID pandemic situation and also how to face it through, of course, a young people perspective. We did the same also with legislators, with parliamentarians, and we did also have a representative from Indonesia attending our meeting with parliamentarians and also presenting some ideas on how to face or how legislators and MPs can face the current situation while addressing their while working on specific topics that are related to renewable, to sustainable development, to empowerment also of young people and also communities. In doing this, we also released a post-COVID recovery agenda. It was released in June, and it includes some policy insights and some recommendation that countries, that governments have to take when talking or taking decision on stimulus packages, on investment opportunities, in order to move from the current crisis that is not only a health crisis, but it is also a financial and economic crisis for several countries, and in order also to provide some ideas, some opportunities for all countries to understand why it is important to put renewables at the center of sustainable development in order to provide and to increase socioeconomic benefits, to increase a more sustainable development of a community, of a country, and also, of course, to increase job opportunities for young people, and not only young people, and in general, in order to stress how important is now to act now in order to think how the energy transformation could be in the very next future. Prima, this is my feedback on that specific question. I hope that I summarize it well.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Riccardo, for the answer. And now the first session of our Q&A is ended. And so before we move to the second session, I would like to inform to all of you that this webinar is brought to you by PT SMI, PT Cahaya Panca Sukses Sentosa, and PT Paurindo Prima Perkasa. And now let's start the second session with a question from Kennard for Unmgcy. And the question is, how Unmgcy manage sustainable energy in response of COVID-19? And what are the prerequisites should we prepare to apply in Unmgcy? And that's all for the question.
Is it in context of COVID-19?
Yes, in context of this current situation, COVID-19.
Yeah, thank you. So the webinar that we held with IRENA in June was very much responding to this question of how do we manage the renewable energy sector and youth engagement there in the face of COVID-19 pandemic. And some of the important takeaways. So when we were organizing this webinar, we asked members how the COVID-19 has impacted their work and how they have coped with it. And some of the insights, some of the important insights that we got from them is that it's important to be flexible and find the new ways of operating the business. For example, many young people are, their companies provide fuel, different types of fuel. And so, for example, they had to adjust their business model so that instead of the customers coming to them in the times of lockdown, which wasn't possible, they were going to their customers and delivering the fuels to their homes. So that was one of the examples of adjustments. Some of the companies took on, while the demand has decreased for the fuels, they tried to adjust, for example, and get involved with providing PPE for their communities. And that was one of the ways for them to stay creative and maintain the income while also meeting other needs of their communities. So this creativity was one of the important aspects of their work. And in terms of energy per se, there definitely have been many impacts on education and health sectors. Because in some places where this, as people went into lockdown, the energy demand increased for domestic purposes, and sometimes this energy supply has been cut for schools. I mean, there was no schools, but people were studying at home, and there was no sufficient electricity to power their online classes. There was limited access to internet and also limited access for electricity for the health services. So we've been also seeing young people trying to find solutions to those problems. So in short term, that was the COVID-19 has been an opportunity to showcase their entrepreneurial skills for young people. But in long term, there's definitely many negative impacts because lockdowns hinder the training for young professionals in the renewable energy sector, which many of elements of this training have to be done in person. They're difficult to learn online. And so what we might see, unfortunately, hopefully we won't, but what might happen is that there will be some kind of delay for new professionals to enter the renewable energy market. So yeah, that's in brief about those impacts. Maybe Chiagozie wants to add anything.
Yeah, just to add, one of the questions I was asked is about engaging with the Unmgcy. So we had shared the barcode before, but I'm putting a link on the chat so everyone can see. You can just go there. They get involved, part of it, and then you can indicate the SDG 7 youth constituency, and we can add you to the mailing list. We do that every week. Every week we add the new sign-ups to the mailing list. And I see a lot of you already joined our WhatsApp group, and that is good. So we already have you in there, and we can easily communicate in a very informal way, and also formally over the email. Is quite quicker over WhatsApp because a lot of information gets shared. And once you sign up, you're part of our membership. There are no much hot hassles for that. You just have to be a young person who is active and passionate, and that's all. And you will meet a lot of passionate people, like-minded people, and people who you can network and build something together with once you are a member of the constituency. If there are any questions again in this regard, we're very happy to answer. But yeah, that's just all you have to do.
Okay, thank you for the answer. We hope that it all cover all of the questions that you asked for Kenneth. And also the next one is how how powerful IRENA can mandate other council member or country to follow the world directive? Do you include any organization of environment to give vision for council directives? This one is for Riccardo. Please answer the question.
Thank you, Prima. So, can you briefly repeat the question, because it wasn't very easy to hear?
Okay, so the question is how powerful IRENA can mandate other council member to follow the world directives. Do you include any organization of environment to give vision for council directives?
Okay, so IRENA, let's say, is a different organization if it is compared to, for example, United Nations agencies or United Nations itself. So at IRENA, countries, let's say, adopt decisions which are not mandatory. It means that decisions that are approved at our assembly do not imply for countries to, for example, be compliant with the specific target of renewable energy in the energy national mix, or do not, let's say, oblige country to, for example, enter in a specific agreement with other members, with other countries, or to, for example, put specific funds on the implementation of a specific project. What country do at our assembly, so what our membership does, is to identify specific areas that IRENA has to work on in order to support the deployment and development also of renewable worldwide. It means that our organization has a specific mandate, as you have seen from my presentation, but at the same time, it doesn't oblige any country that is a member of IRENA of doing any specific or taking any specific action. Both Beniamin and Chiagozie can easily, let's say, tell you also how we at IRENA are different compared to the other organizations that they are usually engaged with, in terms also on, let's say, sometimes a more easy way to interact with us in an informal, but of course also in a formal way. It means that we are really different compared to other organizations. We are, let's say, a more technical focused organization than a political one. So at IRENA, the countries do not discuss about political issue. They do gather together in order to brainstorm, to discuss, and take also decisions that are related to the implementation work that IRENA has to do in order to support the deployment of renewable energy worldwide. I hope that this response provided some feedback to the person that asked the question.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Riccardo. And now we move to our last question for this session. And the question is from live on YouTube from Millennia Agata. And this one is for Unmgcy. The question is how to build sense of belonging to our planet for the young generation, especially to educate the young generation for renewable energy. So number 7. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I'll start on this one. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I think the matter of self-belonging, it's something very personal and something that relates to passion. For all of us engaged in this space as young people engaged within the youth engagement mechanism of the UN, we already took that sense of belonging ourselves. We've taken that responsibility that this planet belongs to us, that this world is ours. We don't care what the policy makers are doing currently now. What we care about is what would be good for us and for the next years, for the generations coming, and for the next years that we have to live on this planet. So you have to take that responsibility and feel among. You're not going to get that sense of responsibility plucked from the air. You have to give it to yourself and take hold of the space. This space is there for you. Once you are within our constituency, you are equal with every other person. There is no kind of hierarchy. All these roles that we have, like the regional focal points, global focal points, and thematic focal points, is just organizational roles under which we organize different engagements. It does not translate to any power or whatever. It's an equal space. So please be our member and take ownership of the SDG 7. It is your goal. It is your agenda. It is for your planet, because we have more years to live on this planet. All things being equal, we have more years to live on this planet than our political leaders. Most of our political leaders who are over 50, and upward. So we have to take control of what happens in our planet to plan what we want, and do not be afraid to bring any agenda on the table. No matter how crazy it is, there could be some sense in there, and we can always work something out. Do not be afraid to bring out a proposition, to propose an idea, or to bring something on the table. But most importantly is that you have to take responsibility, not just for Indonesia. For all of us, we think as global citizens. We think globally and act locally, and that is very important. You must take responsibility for what happens in this planet, and then in your country and in your region. When you expand your scope in that way, it's a lot easier to get things done. For example, if you're implementing something in Indonesia and it's working quite well, you could set up a network in another country close by and say, we are doing this here, why not try it there? And it also ties to your success, and it ties to policy expansion and brings a lot of smile to your face when you know that you've influenced a change in national policy of another country, just like you did in yours. It gives a good feel. So absolutely feel free to join. Take ownership of the space, propose any ideas, just feel free. It's a safe space for you, and a lot of things can happen very quickly. In 6 months, you'll be so surprised, how much you've been able to achieve. Maybe Ben can also add there.
Yeah, thank you, Chiagozie. I would like to add a bit in the context of question that was just posted by Ines, who said that in Indonesia, a lot of local tribes can't easily accept of modernity in energy supply. And her question is it safe to apply the energy in isolated areas, even if it's against the tribe's tradition? And so while I'm not an expert on this, and I don't want to speak to substance too much, I think the context is important because it's about respect, and we as youth, we believe that we have the agency and the credibility to speak about our own issues. And in similar manner, it's very important for us to engage in other non-government, non-party stakeholders in the multilateral process, such as indigenous people, and respect their knowledge. Because as you mentioned, like the question that we're answering right now about making other people respect the SDGs, it's really about connecting to nature and seeing what are the other ways of life, and thinking critically about processes like industrialization, which are important in elevating people out of poverty, but all of that has to happen with respect to the social and planetary boundaries, so that we get beyond this minimum floor of poverty and hunger and energy poverty, but also we don't exceed the ecological limits of what the planet can provide to us. So I think those two of making people love the planet and appreciate and endorse and embrace the SDGs is very closely related how we perceive and interact with different communities in our neighborhood. And there's a lot to learn from them. And nature-based solutions have been important elements of young people's agenda, fighting in the climate change space and the energy space. So yeah, thank you.
The answer. And now I would like to inform to you that we decided to add one more Q&A session because there are numerous questions that is asked to for our three of our speakers, and so this one is for all of the speakers. The participant wants to know that what is your opinion about Indonesian youth regarding of renewable energy development and its contribution in global youth renewable energy movement? Or also, can you tell the youth movement in your country for development of renewable energy? And thank you for the question. And
so can you ask that again? I didn't quite get it.
Okay, so the participant is asking your opinion about Indonesian youth regarding renewable energy development and its the contribution in global youth renewable energy movement. And also, you can tell us about the movement in each of your country for development of renewable energy.
Okay, thank you. I mean, for Indonesia, I think there's been quite some progress on renewables. As a GS country, there's been a couple of progress in terms of the youth participation. Also, it's been increasing over the years. I've worked with a couple of colleagues who are from Indonesia who are also who are also promoting this. I know it's the energy profile within Indonesia. It's probably around solar applications, about 15% of the renewable energy used in the sector in Indonesia. I think about 14% thereabout for the hydropower in Indonesia. But in terms of the youth profile, of course, there's still a lot more work to be done in increasing the profile of renewables in Indonesia. I know in other climate space and also in your NDCs, there seems to be a lot of work going on, and this is an opportunity to even include more renewable energy profile in the Indonesian NDCs. I don't know the update on this, but I know that the last time I heard about a possible move of the capital because of threats of flooding are owing to sea level rising. I don't know if that is still on or if it is concretely happening, but I know Indonesia is a country that is always in the forefront of climate challenges, and moving to renewables is one way it can really contribute its bit to reducing its emission. Of course, it's not at the sky high rate now, but it's a growing economy, huge population. It's better that it transits in a very green way because if it waits to hit the peak of carbon emission, it will be really bad for the country. And so I think the youth movement in Indonesia regarding renewable energy could focus on consulting the Ministry of Environment or the Ministry of Climate Change, as it would be in the country, on a youth consultation on NDCs, which would be to review the renewable energy component or profile in that NDC, the NDC enhancement window, and then to see how to improve what is already there, or to even put what is not there at all. So for those that don't know, the NDCs are the nationally determined contributions. This is the document that enables the implementation of the Paris Agreement at the national level of every country. So now we have countries updating their NDCs, because the last one they submitted was at the COP21, where the Paris Agreement was agreed. And that was basically not very consulted. It was done with a lot of consultants. But now they are updating it. We all have opportunities to ask our government that we want to be part of it, and we want to put some youth agenda, in this document. And then why it's important to be part of it this time is that the next time the NDCs will be updated or enhanced could be in 5 or 10 years. So we've not yet agreed on the common time frames, because it's very difficult to agree things within the COP process. But it's a very important opportunity for you to review the renewable energy components in your NDCs, and then to improve what is there already or to include what is not there. In terms of youth movement, of course, you could build a lot more synergize. It's very good to work together in a collective Maybe you want to have a national network on renewables. That's possible. That organizes, everybody engaged in this space. For example, all of you already on this webinar are a huge, formidable group. I'm sure if you woke up one morning and start tweeting something to your government with a hashtag on renewable energy, it will never be ignored because you have huge numbers. So that kind of organization could be helpful. In Nigeria, we don't have a national network on renewables because our renewable energy profile is still coming up. A lot of it is being done in public sector. Public hospitals, universities, some farms. But then we had a challenge at some point where the government increased the tariff, the importation tariff on renewable energy components by 8%. We thought it was very bad because we do not produce the components in Nigeria as of then. And then putting those tariffs was kind of a protectionist way of supporting people that were importing generators, diesel generators, to increase their profile. So that was very disadvantageous to us. But in the past years, it's improved. Our renewable energy profile is improving consistently, but can do a lot more. That's why one of the projects I'm working on nationally is on energy democracy, to make sure that people have the ability to produce their power, to use it how they want it, and to sell it when they want it. To use the much they can to produce it, to disconnect from it and disconnect from the national grid, and have the independence of managing their power. We have in Africa, maybe as you know, we have over 600 million homes without access to electricity, and this is a lot of work that needs to be done. And it's very insane because this continent has a lot of sunlight, which automatically should be producing our solar energy. But then, like project mismanagement and lack of capacity, and of course, sometimes lack of visionary leadership makes it very impossible that these projects are taken, care of in a very responsible way. So young people are doing a lot of startups in Nigeria. A lot of renewable energy startups are owned by young people, and they are being supported in various ways. What could be a challenge in this space could be now, from what I've noticed, is identifying a sustainable business model that works, across board. So they have to always, navigate from one business model to the other to really get what works. So far, it seems like pay as you go. It looks like a good deal. But of course, as they go forward, they try to innovate to see what business model works best for them and sustains, their income and their staff progressively. But also, we'll be looking at having like a national group that probably works on both climate change and renewable energy components to give us, more formidable fronts to be able to engage the government. But the number of entrepreneurs emerging in this area is very, very impressive. Maybe I'll hand over to Ben also to add on this.
Yeah, thank you, Chiagozie, for such a good overview. And in terms, maybe I'll just only add a little bit about the youth and renewable energy landscape in Poland. So in our country, we have, unfortunately, the highest carbon use in Europe. Around a third of carbon use for energy purposes in Europe comes from Poland. And at the same time, we are the fastest adopting country for renewable energy, especially solar PV, because of the government subsidies program for solar PV panels on roofs of houses. There's not so much of youth engagement yet. There are two organizations that gather youth, and because of this long-lasting tradition of coal mining in Poland, there's a slow transition toward training youth professionals in the renewable energy sector. We have been, as Polish youth, we have been involved in establishment of the European Youth Energy Network, which is supposed to gather and bring and exchange expertise between young people in the clean energy sector across Europe. And that's probably one of the most important platforms for us right now. And it will be also particularly important in the context of the European Green Deal, and which is $1 trillion euros for the next 7 years, part of the multi-year financial framework of the European Union. And these funds will be directed to a large extent to renewable energy and energy efficiency. So there's substantial projects like the renovation wave. So especially renovation and improving energy efficiency in buildings is a way of reducing energy demand while providing a lot of employment opportunities. So that's of particular interest to decision makers during the recovery period from COVID-19 pandemic. So I believe this is one of the valuable areas to look at now, also for youth in other countries who want to advocate for increased investment in energy efficiency and clean energy supply, while meeting the needs of providing employment and retraining, because working in energy efficiency is relatively easier to retrain people from construction to energy efficiency than from, let's say, coal mining or coal power plants to PV, solar, or wind power plants. And last aspect of energy that is significant for us, which is wind. So we are developing, Poland is developing right now a big offshore wind regulation that will allow to launch around 10 gigawatts of energy over the next few years by national investments, also foreign investments. So yeah, these are the developments in Poland. But I mean, even seeing from the participation in this webinar, I'm sure that the youth energy network in Indonesia is strong, and we're looking forward to see what is going to happen, and in whatever way we can support it, we'll be very happy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Benjamin, for the answers. And for Mr. Riccardo, is there anything you want to add regarding the question?
Thank you, Prima. I can first thank both Chiagozie and Beniamin for providing such interesting insights and also information on how youth engagement is important, and also what they are doing, both at national level, but of course also globally. From our side, I would say that we do think that youth engagement is very important. We do see that not only through this webinar, but also through the initiatives that we have launched during the last 2 years. Let's say IRENA is becoming very interesting for young people from Indonesia. We received several applications for our first IRENA Youth Forum, and also for several submissions for the IRENA video contest that we launched in June. So it means that really renewables are becoming a very relevant topic for young people that are based in Indonesia, and this is also something we should all think about. It means that there is a concrete need for youth-led organization to continue working with the young people in the country, and also to share with them specific knowledge, specific information that are related to the deployment of renewable energy, and of course, which is also more important, I think, everything that is related to the benefits that renewable can bring to communities and to young people. We as IRENA are always available to interact with young people. There are several ways also to receive information from our agency. You can subscribe to the newsletter. You can also find on the website specific email addresses that are related to specific initiatives that IRENA is implementing. And I think that by using all these instruments, these tools that also are available on our website, we can contribute to providing young people from Indonesia with some additional knowledge, with some insights and some more information on why renewables should be at the center of the global energy transformation. This is my feedback.
Okay, thank you, Riccardo, for the feedback. And that's all for today's schedule in the webinar series of NYSRE Day 2. And so I will try to conclude our 2 hours webinar session. And so the point is for us as a youth, IRENA and Unmgcy is one of the platform that we can use if we have any tendency to renewable energy. And also Mr. Udeh said that it is our consciousness to conserve and make this planet sustainable, and also we have to live with it, and we still have many years to live in this planet, and we have to take care of it. And also I would like to inform to all the participants that there is post-it notes to confirm attendance list and get an e-certificate for today's webinar. And again, we won't be able to conduct this webinar without support from our sponsorship and media partner. Thank you for PT SMI, PT Cahaya Panca Sukses Sentosa, and PT Powerindo Prima Perkasa as our sponsor. And also media partner Radio PPI Dunia, Event Bandung, kampusupdate.com, Event Banget, Radio Kampus ITB, 8EH Radio ITB, Radio Mahasiswa Unpad, Ardan Radio, Radio Play 99ers Bandung, Kampuspedia, Ruang Event, Boulevard ITB, Ruang Mahasiswa, Info Lomba, ITB Hits, ITB Receh, Bandung Event, event apa aja, event kampus, Bandung Info, informasi event, and event journal. And also, I would like to give a big thank you for our speakers. I hope this webinar is a start of engagement with us, with Indonesia, with SRE ITB, with this big group of youth, and also I hope that we will get involved into further with IRENA, also with MGCY. And also thank you for all the 4,000 plus attendance. And I think that's all for today's webinar jam session. Thank you very much. See you on the next day of NYSRE webinar day 3. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prima, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Riccardo. Thank you. The webinar is a start.
Thank you
and
very much.
Thank you, Benjamin, for your time. And also don't forget to fill the feedback form for the attendance list and get an e-certificate. Thank you all for the attention. I think that's all for today's webinar jam session. Thank you very much. See you on the next day of NYSRE webinar day 3. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prima, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Riccardo. Thank you. The webinar is a start.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Benjamin, for your time. And also don't forget to fill the feedback form for the attendance list and get an e-certificate. Thank you all for the attention. I think that's all for today's webinar jam session. Thank you very much. See you on the next day of NYSRE webinar day 3. Thank you very much.